this next topic, is bringing a lot of heat, unfortunately, a lot of heat, a lot of civil unrest, a lot of sadness. So, for those of you who aren't aware, the country of Haiti is in a national crisis right now. So, their president, Jovenel Moïse, I'm trying to pronounce his name properly, was assassinated at his home in Port-au-Prince on Wednesday. And so there's been a lot of conversation. There's been a lot of conspiracy theories about what actually happened. As far as we know today, because this only happened a couple of days ago, there's still a sense of chaos in the country. It's been exacerbated by the questions over who was behind the attack at his residence. The authorities and, the Haitian authorities aren't necessarily forthcoming. They're not necessarily, or they haven't in the past, necessarily been a government that's been trusted. But the authorities have arrested at least 20 people, the majority of them Colombian. Within the 20, though, there have been 2 Haitian Americans arrested who they claim they were only there as translators and they didn't see anything. But President Moise was literally murdered, assassinated by what everyone believes was a foreign hit squad.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of questions and conspiracies surrounding this. Like, one, why was he a target? Who made him a target? Who ordered the hit? Like, clearly, Colombian assassins don't have a vested interest in killing the president of Haiti. So who hired them? Was this an in-house job? Or because it's claimed that, there are 2 Haitian Americans that are involved, does this reach American soil? And a lot of people, there's been a lot of, again, civil unrest, a lot of chaos. There are Haitians who are trying to flee the country. There were hundreds, almost 1,000 Haitians that went to the U.S. Embassy in Haiti thinking that they could get, papers so they could leave the country. The embassy said, no, go back to where you came from. There's questions about whether or not, President Biden will deploy troops to assist in the situation. My question to you all is, what the fuck is going on in Haiti? What is going on in Haiti? Rob?
Well, the man had a lot of enemies. He was actually in the process of overhauling Haiti's constitution, and among the provisions that he was pushing for was one that would grant Haiti's leader immunity for any actions while in office. So that was leading critics to charge that he really represented a threat to their democracy, and he was setting the country on a course towards authoritarian rule. It's, the fact that you've got a group of 28 mercenaries, 2 have ties to America. The rest have been tied to, was it Bolivia or Colombia? Colombia. So, I mean, if we think of the CIA's past, no, like they've never been involved in disrupting foreign governments. They've never sent and trained operatives to do their dirty work. But I mean, if you're going to destabilize a nation, why the hell would you pick Haiti? Why would you pick the poorest kid on the block to beat up some more? That really doesn't make sense. But nationally, the power grab that he was going for with the amendments to the Constitution would absolutely warrant a lot of his political enemies in Haiti to step up and say, yeah, no, this isn't going to work for us, or even neighboring nations who say, no, this isn't going to work for us. Haiti, unfortunately, has decades upon decades of political upheaval and disruption. This goes as far back as when the French colonists basically pulled out and raped Haiti of all of its all of its riches. So there's a reason why they're poor.
Literally.
France screwed them way back in the day. And then there's so much, as I kept diving down into this rabbit hole, Liz, I just kept, where does this thread lead? Where does this thread lead? I felt like I could have decorated my room with yarn because, and that was just in a short amount of time. so many machinations in the background and so many enemies. No wonder there are conspiracy theories that are abounding amongst the people and
Yeah.
all that uncertitude. I know that when the attack happened, that a lot of the local populace was involved in helping police services gather up the culprits. So they were, and police forces were urging them to stay calm, don't take the law into your own hands, due process. But during all of this, there three of the vehicles that the assassins used were set ablaze by the mobs. I understand their furor, but that's three evidence scenes that could have been a treasure trove of information, but these cars got torched. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
people are going to start talking soon, but if we're talking about South American hit squads that are sponsored by the CIA, no one's saying shit.
And I think, so just to piggyback off of that, Rob, I think a lot of people are alarmed by the idea, one, that this hit squad was apprehended so quickly because the assassination happened on Wednesday.
But 1
And
a.m.
then within 24, 36 hours, they were apprehended. So again, this wasn't a Haitian hit squad. So you're talking about foreigners, people from Colombia who kind of would stand out in Haiti, if you will,
Big
coming
time.
in, getting
Yeah.
easy access to the president's residence and killing him in front of his wife and children. Like that takes a lot of effort, a lot of planning. And he hadn't been president for very long. Like he was sworn in as president in February 2017. So it would have been, the equivalent of a Donald Trump president, a one U.S. term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it begs the question, what else is behind all of this? Um, Jose, what are you thinking? Because I'm thinking a couple of things, but what are you thinking?
Well, when it comes to conspiracy theories, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to call my gal, Marjorie Taylor Greene, to find out what she has to say about this. No. The thing is when I heard about the assassination, I was like, oh shit, that's horrible. But then reading more about it and talking with Robbie Rock about, this is assassination, is that Moïse had a lot of enemies. And from what I'm seeing, I don't know what to make of it. I really don't, because Robbie Rock says, there were cars torched. Well, on the other hand, they're also saying those cars were torched for a reason, hence evidence, right? So are we ever going to find out what really happened? What's really amazing is that these people were able to go into his home. Apparently it's a fortress, like there's barbed wire and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
again, is it an
Yeah.
inside
that's
job?
not
Who's your
easy to
friend?
Yeah.
do.
Keep a closer eye on your enemies, know your staff, know who's working for and against you, right? So I think as this unfolds, we are going to learn a lot more of what has been happening, unfortunately. And maybe it's just the people, they did say with this new project, as Maïs called it, it would be that the critics fear that it would erode democracy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a legitimate fear. So if you get enough people together, what's going to happen? And who knows? I mean, right now we're talking about this, and all I'm thinking of is my show Scandal, how like the White House had like secret people. You know what I mean? Who's to say that doesn't happen though? Right? Like, who's to say
That's
that
true.
someone out there said, you know what, we can't let this happen. We got to take care of this. Who knows?
And you're thinking
Yeah.
about Scandal. I'm still thinking about Homeland. Like this is the perfect script plot for Homeland.
Literally. Yeah.
About, extortion and government betrayal, international conflict.
Yeah.
This is Scandal. This is Scandal. And
Mhm.
so, in addition to, him being assassinated and the civil unrest there, the current prime minister, Claude Joseph, is jockeying for position.
Mm-hmm.
The Senate president is jockeying for position. Like within 12 hours, they're jockeying for position. But to me, it just screams inside job versus these Colombians that are kind of like fall guys, if you will. I mean,
Jacqueline
yeah,
says
they
it. Yeah.
done it, but they were hired. They weren't hired by anyone in Colombia to
No,
do this.
no, no, no,
I've
no,
I've
no.
heard
It,
that there were I've heard that there was with the Haitian president there was actually some type of Colombian prisoners. Like there's a reason like why the
There's
Colombians are
Bolivia.
involved in this.
They,
Oh, Bolivians?
they've got
okay. Yeah.
they've got beef with Bolivia. Or Bolivia has beef with them, but Bolivia is pretty darn close to Colombia. Just saying.
Right. So I think it is I almost feel like the Colombian mob, if you will, that whole group, I almost feel like that was legitimate. I just feel like we don't know why. Because
Mm-hmm.
Haiti, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of corruption, but I feel like they're so poor, why would they hurt themselves even more? Like your president's gone. Now it's a shithole even worse. Like it's gonna be, so I feel like I don't know if we are talking conspiracy theories, but just it's hard to do research in the midst of all of this because there's a million articles that are gonna be
Of course.
doing what we're doing, kind of like speculating. So, but before that happened, I saw that there were ties to prisoners that were in Haiti, and so maybe it was some type of beef. I don't know. That's just that's me.
I just still don't buy that, given that the people that would benefit from this would be people in the Haitian government. And so that's why I'm
Yeah.
Yeah,
thinking, like,
true.
you need to
That's true.
check your prime minister, you need to check
Mhm.
your Senate. Like, those would be the people that would benefit from it. You know, mercenaries and assassins, they'll take money
True.
from to kill anyone in any country,
Yeah,
whatever. Um,
yeah,
but
true.
and we know the Haitian government has not been trustworthy for decades,
Mhm.
for decades.
Mhm.
So I just obviously you feel bad for the people that are
Yes.
caught up in this, and I'm not saying anything negative against his wife, but the fact that it happened in their home in front of
Yeah,
her and the children were nearby, that's horrible.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
disgusting.
She
horrible.
took 3 bullets. She was shot 3 times.
Jeez, I
They
almost
transferred
forgot
her to
she.
Miami. I read an article today how they transferred her to Miami. But Jacqueline Robinson says, all kidding aside, it could have happened here, as in the US, and we are still investigating the inside job of January 6th, which is so very true. Like, will we ever really find out why he was
Yeah,
assassinated?
And as it
I
relates to
know.
January, this is what I kept trying to impress upon people. Aside from Donald Trump, who was down the street, you know, instructing these people to take action, the totality of the US government was in the Capitol that day, including the vice president.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And so for all of these Republicans to take this, kid gloves, hands off approach to what happened it sickens me. Like, the fall of our nation could have happened on that day if those terrorists had been able to breach
Hell
the areas that they intended to breach. And I don't think enough people take that seriously. Like, there could have been only one person was killed, and that was one of the terrorists. It could have been a completely different story if they had been allowed
Yes,
to go where they wanted to go. If all
for
of those
sure.
people that were, on the Senate floor were armed instead of just, looking at documents or taking pictures or whatever. And I
yeah.
think that's what happens, because I think that's a part of the arrogance of America, that we don't take these things seriously until it's too late. But that
Until it's
totally
too
could have
late.
happened here on January 6th.
Yeah,
That totally could have happened here. And so that was one of the reasons I could see the Capitol from my window. That was one of the reasons why I was so pissed. I was just like, you guys aren't seeing the full picture of what could have happened here.
It's sad
Yeah.
because we need to, like Lady Anne Betty says, it's sad with all the innocents caught in these crossfires and the ripple effect. Because at the end of the day, absolutely true, Annie, is that it's the people that are going to feel this. It's the
yeah,
communities. It's so sad. And like we've all said, this country, this poor place. I mean, there's poor. it's not looking good.
Do you think
And it's always
there will start to
hold us
be
up.
Haitian refugees because of this incident? Or, well, you guys already said they started to leave or tried to leave. Sorry.
Well, they're trying to, but there's also the question of if President Biden is going to offer any type of military assistance, if he's going to deploy any troops. And he, so far, has been kind of hesitant. And I have to say, I don't necessarily fault him for that hesitancy. I'm not saying that I agree. I'm just saying I don't fault him for that. But it's a huge deal. It's a lot. And, even though, former President Trump called Haiti a shithole country,
Yes, he did.
one, it
Oh my
isn't.
God, he said that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. It was Haiti and a
What?
host of other countries um, that have black populations and black governments. Shithole countries. He said that we don't need to let residents from the citizens from these shithole countries come into the United States. We should be looking more towards Norway.
Fuck, Trump is such a
Norway.
Trump
bag.
is horrible. Oh my God.
That's
He's such an
that
idiot.
was about it. Um,
Oh my
but it's
God.
an international issue that we can't afford to not take seriously. We can't afford
Yeah.
to not.
No.
Can't afford to not take it serious. That's
Yeah.
true.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Man.
Weighty topics panel, but I thank you for, not being afraid to speak out on what's going on in the world, for, beckoning us to take a look at things that we may normally not take a look at. We may normally turn the page on. I think that's
Yeah.
one of the major characteristics of Truth Lies Shenanigans. We're not afraid to talk about certain things. We're not afraid to talk about certain things. Thank you for the engaging and the enlightening topics for today.
So are we calling
Thank
this
you,
one
Liz.
Truth, Lies, or Shenanigans?
Oh, goodness.
I think this is
Ooh,
like
it might
an
be
assassin
live.
spy story that's got all three of them.
It's true.
You know what, Rob? Rob, we had a streak of where we were going with topics that were all three. And then we kind of like,
Yeah.
kind of cooled that down a little bit. But I think this is definitely one that encompasses all three.
All three.
Truth,
Yeah.
lies,
Yeah.
and a lot of shenanigans.
Heck
A
yeah.
lot of
Agreed.
shenanigans.
Yeah.